something all-consuming, something that would arouse your passions at the deepest level? I was. I remember when I went to church early on in my conversion experience, and I hadn't been converted very long, and I'd been reading the New Testament, and I didn't know the difference between churches and church life today and the New Testament. This was back in the early 60s, 63, and I went to church one day, and we had a lawn out in front, and we'd go to the church service, and people would sort of congregate out on the lawn and talk. And so I went to church a few times, and I watched, and they didn't do what the Bible did. You see, I had this idea in my mind that if you I read the New Testament. Do you like the New Testament? Have you read the Gospels? Do you like Jesus? I was hot for him. I loved him. I loved it when he walked on the water. I have a theory, you have to do that very fast. I mean, if I had to try it, that's the way I would try it. Get a good run. I loved it when the fishes and the loaves. I loved it when there were so many things. I mean, I loved it when he gave it to the Pharisees. You like it when he does that? I love it. I just liked it all. I mean, I liked it when he healed the sick and and the demons would come out. That was hot, wasn't it? And so I thought that's what they did at church. Nobody told me. And so I went to church, 2 or 3 times. They didn't do nothing. They read a bulletin. They stood up. They sat down. They sang a song. They sat down. Some guy talked a little while. Some other guy prayed, "Our Father and our God." I asked my friend, I said, "What's wrong with that guy? Sounds like he's been kicked in the throat by a mule." He says, "Oh, they all sound like that. I think they get it at seminary or something. I don't know." You ever been to church? And so a few weeks went by, and I was standing out on the front lawn, and there was a guy there that I liked. His name was Wayne, and I went up to him and I said, "When do they do it?" He was taller than I was, and he was looking down at me. He says, "What?" I said, "The stuff in the book." He said, "What stuff?" I said, "When they heal the sick and they cast out the demons and they multiply the fish and stuff like that. When do they do that?" I've been here 3 or 4 times. They haven't done it. I thought maybe the main guys were on a vacation or something, So I said, "Well, when do they do it?" And he said, "Well, we don't do it. Sometimes we pray about it, and we sing about it, and we read about it, but we don't do it." I said, "Wait a minute. Let me see if I got this straight. We don't do it?" He says, "No, we don't do it." I said, "Man, I gave up drugs for this." "We don't do it?" He says, "We don't do it." Sad day. We don't do it. So I went home and I said, "Lord, how about you and me doing it?" Didn't happen right away, although there were some moments. We learned how to pray for refrigerators, automobiles, children, money, and God rewarded our faith. But it was a number of years before he began teaching us to do it. And you've heard me talk about it, doing the stuff that Jesus did.